Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Yearbook News. I'm here with my co-host, Sarah.
Hello, everyone. Right, it's been a while.
Yes, it's so good to be back. I hope you guys have all been doing well. This episode is going to be a fun one because we're kind of going to go over the theme of what does United Yearbook offer? And so we kind of wanted to take you over like some of the things that United Yearbook offers, some of the questions that we've been asked from advisors, some of the different situations we've been dealing with, and also kind of give you a sneak peek into the behind the scenes offerings that we have here at United Yearbook. So my first kind of question for you today, Sarah, is what are some of the unique offerings that we have here at United Yearbook?
Well, when you ask about unique, the word unique itself, I would say, besides being offering very customized, innovative yearbook, we're also a big problem solver. Never say no when an advisor comes to us for questions. Probably a lot of you, do not know we also offer print tour, and we also help advisor to address IP issues, for images or content that they have question about IP, that we can help to walk them through the process, how to troubleshoot those questions. We also offer online store for school to help them to market and expedite the transaction of the yearbook sales. So this is just a list of things, on and on and on. It's a big, long list. The reason why I say that is every day we have new questions from advisors. We always want to be able to provide them with solutions.
Yes, exactly. That's such a good kind of like guideline of what we're going to be touching today. And I think another big thing is like the flexibility, because as we're going throughout the year, we never know what, an advisor is going to come to us with. We never know exactly, we can kind of guess, at this point in the year, they're going to have questions about theming. And at this point in the year, they're going to have questions about deadlines and whatnot. But we never know exactly like, okay, this situation has arisen. How do we kind of problem solve and help them with it? And I'm sure a lot of advisors out there have dealt with this in the past, hopefully not right now, but angry parents is a situation that I'm sure anyone listening might be laughing a little bit because you've dealt with it. And so we kind of recently had a situation with an advisor who is dealing with some angry parents from last year's yearbook. And so that's kind of like a situation we were able to kind of help problem solve with that advisor. Would you be able to kind of touch base on that a little bit more, Sarah?
Yes. Although we got one incident, just a week ago, but it is a yearly thing that we get asked by school principal and advisors that parents are very angry and upset, disappointed, that their child does not make it on the yearbook portrait pages. So it's not something that's new. It actually happens quite often, but usually we'll get that kind of inquiry at the end of the school year after the yearbook is already distributed. But just a week ago, we have a request, how we can problem solve a situation in which a graduate did not make it to their school yearbook. So we have in printing, we have this process called tip in. We can actually print the pages where the senior graduate, where the portrait is missing, and we print on both sides, and we'll replace the incorrect pages, with the new pages. Of course, we print it on both sides, and then we'll attach that page back to the yearbook. It's almost seamless. You can not even tell, a page has been replaced, because the type of paper that we use is in the ink is very similar to what we use in the mass productions. So, and I would say it was 100% of the time. Parents are happy. The senior who didn't make it to the original yearbook, they're happy. That tend to solve the problem, most of the time.
Yeah, thank you for sharing about that. It's such a huge relief for the advisor to kind of have that weight lifted off your shoulders. Like I said, for any advisors listening that have dealt with angry parents, being able to kind of problem solve the situation and kind of ease the tension is a huge weight lifted off. So it's really nice to be able to hear, how we were able to make everyone happy in that situation, because it's not easy.
Exactly.
At the beginning, I kind of mentioned about the flexibility that we have. And something else that's pretty flexible about what we do here at United Yearbook is our software. And so obviously we do offer our own software, and it's very robust, but we also offer the flexibility of allowing any advisor to use the software that they desire, right? And so, a lot of advisors will use Photoshop if they would like. And so do you have any like recent examples that you could share with us of how an advisor is kind of tackling Photoshop while, creating a yearbook for United Yearbook or under United Yearbook?
Of course, at the beginning of the school year, or particularly in October now, that's when the action, actually start kicking in. So advisors, especially new one, they may come with different set of skills or previous experience. Some of them may have a lot of experience with Adobe Photoshop. Some may with Adobe InDesign. Some may with Canva, and they're professional, true pro, in using Canva to design pages. So we want to be able to provide that flexibility. Although United Yearbook, we have our own online design program, but we walk the advisors through, how they can still use Photoshop to create the pages for the cover case, and also the text pages for the entire yearbook. And they can actually upload those finished composite file back to our program so that they can paginate. Just imagine if there are like 200 pages or 368 pages in the yearbook. You want to have a way to paginate so that what exactly the book order of the entire book is. So yes, advisors and the yearbook staff can choose to use the program they want to create the design for the cover and for the text pages. But at the end of the day, if they decide to not use our online program for pagination, and they can just send us a press ready PDF file with the bleed included, and we'll put the file through the flight checking process to spot out any potential print issues, bleed issue, margin issue, or anything that can cut off. So once that has been checked, we'll add crop marks so that when a job is put on press, we know exactly where we trim the pages. Again, from Photoshop, InDesign program, or even Canva. But at the end of the day, the school can give us the entire native files, but we prefer press-ready PDF files so that we know for sure everything is locked in without anything being shifted or removed or deleted by accident.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying also at the beginning when you're talking about this of how, advisors will kind of join in, and some of them will, be experts at Adobe Photoshop or InDesign or whatever it may be. And we've also had so many advisors who have just kind of been thrown into their job and they're completely lost. And so it's always really nice to be able to kind of walk them through our software as well. And so it's nice that we have those like flexible options to be able to teach and walk alongside those advisors that are coming into the job and they're just like, I have no idea, I've never done design in my life. And then, like you mentioned already, there's some that come in and say, I have this completely ready, like I am ready to go, I don't need any help with it. And so it's always nice to see kind of like the differences and how we can kind of meet advisors where they are.
Yeah, although I do remember we have an interesting situation last year. A church who needed to do their yearbook, or the directory, and they use Microsoft Word, to create an entire directory / yearbook. We're able to help them to convert the Microsoft file into print-ready PDF file. So that was a pretty interesting case because we suddenly received design file in Microsoft format. But again, going back to United Yearbook being very flexible, we're able to help the church to convert the entire book into a print-ready PDF file format and ready for printing.
Yeah, we really had to meet them where they were at in that very unique situation. Yeah, it's so funny. Okay, so switching gears a little bit, we're kind of talking about the different things United Yearbook offers. Something that we've done in the past, we just recently did again, is doing a print tour. And so could you go over kind of like that process and how we were able to kind of bring students to see real life what printing is like and give them that firsthand experience? Because a lot of the times they don't really know the process that goes behind it. They just kind of make the page spreads. They learn throughout the year. Maybe the advisor will go over some of the basics of printing with them, but they don't really get that real hand experience. They have it in a digital file and then they see it in person, and they don't know what goes in between that. And so I think a print tour is a really wonderful thing. And so yeah, if you could go over that experience and being able to bring that to students' hands and make that accessible to them.
Exactly. I think a print tour is very important in the sense that the yearbook staff, get a chance to see how the process of printing works. From flight checking the press-ready PDF file to actually seeing the pages printed on the printing press. It's just amazing. And also, it also creates an opportunity for the students to ask meaningful questions. Directly from the pressman, from the bindery, from the collate department, the people who are responsible to flight check and process the files in the pre-press department. So a print tour is an opportunity for the student to really open their eyes to see what the real world is like. If they are thinking of pursuing a career in graphic design, in print media, social media even, or in opening a print shop, I think a print tour really create an opportunity for them to envision what it's like working in that environment, and also to see the impact of the work that they design using Canva or Photoshop or Adobe InDesign, because they're able to see, even if the image is not high resolution, it will affect the print quality, the final product. So I think it really create an opportunity for them to see how important their role is. Organizing the files, really flight checking everything, create a file, make sure that the editorial pictures are within the margin, because all the details is important in order to have a very high quality printed yearbook the way that is desired.
Yeah, and I think this is such a good example of just like a very real world experience. The students are being taken to visit and make eye contact, ask those questions, and kind of learn about this experience, learn about the printing, about how printing works, right? But they're also they're the ones who have designed the yearbook. They're the ones who have put in the work. And so they're the ones, in a sense, who are kind of like the employees, right? They're the ones who are kind of being there and asking those questions and being present. And I think that's kind of gives them that firsthand experience of, oh, this is on me. This is my work that I've put in. And so what would you say are some of those kind of soft skills that they can kind of develop during this print tour?
A lot of soft skill, like for example, high schoolers, all the people that they encounter maybe just like the teachers, parents at home, sibling, their classmate, right? So a print tour will be really a very rare opportunity for them to speak to people other than from home or school, but in a real business environment. I would say some of the soft skills the student can learn is communication, how to ask meaningful question in a professional way, have good eye contact, when you are because it's a business, right? A print tour is also a kind of like a business meeting. And how do you pay attention, be a good listener, and based off the information that they listen through the tour, how they can ask relevant questions. All of this important to help them grow professionally, and also learn from the speaker, learn from the host, learn from the people who interact with them, so that they are able to get an idea. Okay, one day they will be in that position. They may be in the maybe a salesperson in a print shop or in that environment. What they can learn from those people as well. The way they speak, the way they collect information, use that information, think about it, and ask meaningful questions. So I think, the soft skill, one thing is really communication, because it can be very nerve-wracking, asking a stranger, that you meet the first time about a printing related question that you may not be very familiar with, right? So I think it also builds confidence, right? Confidence is very important. Confidence is what employer looks for in a job interview. Beside that, chemistry, confidence, and characters. Confidence is also huge. The more you step up to overcome your nervousness by asking questions, regardless of how you feel. I think the print tool will be a very good questions. Also for the yearbook advisor to prepare the student ahead of time, maybe have each student prepare a couple questions to ask throughout the tour. That way the student get opportunity to practice a soft skill in communication and also building confidence in a business environment.
Yeah, exactly. It really allows them to take ownership of their work and to be present and to be, as you said, communicative. It is really such a real world experience for them. And, as you mentioned at the beginning, it's so unique to be able to see the entire process like that. So yeah, I think it's a unique thing that we offer. And I kind of want to switch gears a little bit and go over something that in general is something that I'm sure a lot of advisors have dealt with in the past, might be dealing with right now, which is theming of the yearbook. But more specifically, a lot of staff members will typically kind of be drawn to IP theming, whether it be something, some references to pop culture, whatever it is. And there's kind of like that narrow road where you have to kind of navigate, like, is this okay to do as part of the cover of our yearbook? Are there rules and regulations that I'm overstepping? And so it's like, how do you navigate that? I know we've dealt with situations recently where we've kind of had to kind of help inform an advisor and lead them of how to navigate, what they can do with their yearbook and how to utilize IP, but not utilize IP, you know what I mean? And so I think that's something a lot of advisors will be happy to hear about, because maybe it's something that they're dealing with, within their own yearbook.
Oh, yeah, exactly. We get asked a lot every year. We also have come across situations, so we do have a lot of experience, how to address IP related issues. Going back to the beginning of our podcast, we never say no to advisor when they have a certain question and when they want to be creative, but yet, there may be some potential legal risk. So how do we address that? First, we look at the owner of a particular image or font style the yearbook advisor and the yearbook staff want to use. We always, want to remind them, although they Google search images or font doesn't mean that they're free to use. We have to make sure, that somebody else don't own those images and also the font or even, certain quote. So make sure, we do have a curriculum, that address about IP related question and issue, and advisor can use one of our presentation, to actually lead the yearbooks, lead a class, on that topic. I would say, first is always go back to the owner of the IP, whether it's a trademark or it's a copyrighted items, and get a written permissions before you incorporate those images into your yearbook. Because at the end of the day, the least thing that school admin want to deal with is a legal letter, from the copyright owner. So make sure to do the right thing. I always have advisors, to educate the yearbook staff, even getting them involved, to draft a letter, submit a request to use the image or a font style, incorporate those IP items in the yearbook and get permission. In most situations, they do get a response, and as long as a credit is provided, included in the yearbook. The situation that we get a letter back, like in recent situation, we got a letter back from the IP owner. The letter is not very clear, yes or no. You can use my IP inspired image. Go and consult with your lawyer, to get clarity. But I think when we receive a response like that, that means it could be ambiguous or it could be argumentative. So you don't want to be in a situation that can open, up a can of work that can lead to potential issues, to the school. So at the end of the day, in that situation, the advisor, change the direction a little bit. Instead of using IP inspired content, we incorporate our very innovative printing technique to create a similar effect, inspiration, magical, creative, and fun. So we are able to achieve the result, the feel, without having to use somebody else's IP. Like a printing process, foil stamping, rainbow foil, or even glitter screen printing. I think it's going to be very hard, to try to copyright a printing process, right? So if only one company owns that process, I think there will be a huge problem in the entire world, because there are many print shops, there are many publishers. If only one company owns that printing process, I think it's going to disrupt, the entire economy in the entire world. So I think, this is a very interesting question, but I think it is also good to educate the yearbook staff and have them involved in writing a letter and submit it to the IP owner and get the response, so that the student at the early stage, they already know how to respect and also how to ask for permission to use somebody else's IP content.
Yeah. And I appreciate you laying out what that process looks like for advisors. Maybe some advisors don't know what that process looks like. And like you mentioned, to go over that with your students and everything. And I also really appreciate you going over how, there are alternative things we can do to still kind of get that same effect that you wanted at the beginning, something magical, something glittery, whatever it may be, maybe just using different images or whatever the case may be. And so I think with that mindset of acknowledging that maybe we can't go with this original IP that we've really wanted, but there is, a way to problem solve this. And, that's something that we've mentioned multiple times throughout this podcast, but that's what we love to do, is be able to say, this isn't the end for your magical yearbook, let's problem solve, let's make something glittery, let's make it exciting for your students still. And so, I think for any advisors out there, if you're struggling and your students are set on a certain IP and maybe it didn't go the way that you wanted to, just problem solve with them. What are some different ways that you can incorporate something similar or a similar vibe? We like to say, something similar that still elicits that same feeling and effect on, the students that will get their hands on the yearbook. So I appreciate you going over that, Sarah, because it is an important process, right?
Yeah, I think it's really fun, that even though, we cannot use, so the school cannot use the IP content of the other, the owner, we can still create something so magical for them, right? By utilizing some very innovative and creative printing technique United Yearbook can do for them. So I'm just super happy, to be able to solve the problem, for the school by recommending a printing treatment that they don't even know that are available for the school.
Yeah, exactly. And so instead of having a bunch of disappointed students, you have students that still get to see like that dream yearbook come to life, just in a different way,
Oh yeah,
different
exactly.
format.
Yes, that way the school bank can become an like an innovator, coming up with something very magical, without having to borrow somebody else idea.
Exactly. Yeah. Create your own IP, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. So going along the lines of kind of like those these unique effects and features that we can put on yearbook covers, we recently had a situation, and this goes along with what you were saying, Sarah, at the beginning, is that we don't like to say no to an advisor. We kind of want to problem solve and kind of go around the situation and figure things out with an advisor. And so we recently had an advisor who wanted to have embossing on the back of the yearbook cover, right? And so, if you can go over kind of maybe some complications that would cause, and how we were able to kind of communicate that with the advisor and resolve the situation, because I think that that's just another way that shows that yes, we can do it, but we also want like what's best for the advisor and for the students who will be, they're going to be the ones with the final product, right?
Yes. Believe it or not, we have already started receiving press ready file, of yearbook cover case. In this month, we're still in October. We're not in November yet. Usually that when the first submission deadline of the yearbook cover case needs to be submitted, right? So this school, they're always super early. I just love advisor who is so proactive and stay on schedule and on time. So we got a link, to download the files with like I think 5 to 6 treatment. We have so much fun just really helping them to break down every layer of treatment they want to incorporate onto the yearbook cover case. So they have embossing, debossing, foil stamping, a die cut, a gloss lamination, and whatnot. And then when our prepress department broke down the file, we found that there are different graphic element on the back of the cover case that they want to have debossing. Now debossing means when you apply debossing in a particular image or heading or text or the school name, the area that has been embossed will raise up. So if you have it on the back cover, so what happened is when the book is packed during transit, and also normally people would place the book, like with the back, facing down, right? So over a period of time, short or long, the area that has been embossed, what happened would be flattened. So we came up an idea with recommendation to the advisor. Yes, you can still have embossing around those elements, but we recommend debossing the area around those embossed area, so that the area that have been debossed will stay at debossed because they are not being raised, right? So it will create the effect of the embossing effect around the area that do not have debossing. So instead of just raise up the area that want the embossing, we deboss, create an indent around the area, in the area around it. So that way, doing shipping, packing, and having the book laid flat on the table over a long period of time, the embossed effect will still hold.
I think it's a great another example of just another way that we're able to problem solve, for advisors. But I also think about how I hope that this inspires some advisors out there that maybe there's a situation that they're facing with their cover or some other aspect of the yearbook creation process, and maybe they just need to think outside the box a little bit, and see how can we still do this or something similar to this, and kind of just think outside the box. And I also think there's it's something that very unique about us here at United Yearbook is kind of like that extra care of making sure the user experience is going to go smoothly, right? Because we wanted to make sure that students' yearbooks, the back isn't going to get flattened over time. And we wanted to make sure that that effect is still going to be something that's unique and to its effect 10 years from now, because as we all know, yearbook is a legacy. It's something that you're going to keep stored away and you're going to be able to look at it for years to come. And so, we didn't want for those students to go look at it in 10 years and for it to be all flat in the back. And so I think it's unique, to be able to just kind of see what advisors' needs are, what their ideas are, and then be able to say, okay, how about we take it this way? Because maybe this will work out better for this reason, and then kind of work with the advisor to figure out the situation and problem solve that situation.
Exactly. I think when we look at the cover case file, the design, the treatment, we look at it from a long-term perspective, how we can just modify the file slightly to make sure this yearbook lasts. So oftentimes we're able to provide better solution and alternative solution without costing the yearbook advisor or the school anything, while they're able to, like you said, it's a legacy, where they're able to get a yearbook, with the long-lasting effect, of the treatment that they incorporate.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's so fun also to just see how, advisors still, and staff members, obviously staff members get to still see their creation come to life, Yeah, and so something else is obviously we want to get the yearbook in as many hands as possible. And something else United Yearbook offers, as it is the theme of this podcast, is the online purchasing site. And so that's something that's becoming increasingly popular. We're kind of really moved toward an online kind of society. And so, yeah, if you could go over kind of that process and maybe how that's helpful for advisors and for parents as they're getting their hands on the yearbook for their students, and what we do, how we provide that for advisors.
Of course, this is very interesting, to see even how yearbook sales also kind of go along with how online purchase as a whole around the world is increasingly becoming popular, right? So schools are finally catching up. Back in the old days, the parents give cash or a check to the child, and the child will have to line up, go to the school cashier or ASB to pay for the yearbook. Right? So those are the, many years ago, but we still have school that require the student to go pay cash at the school ASB or cashier, for the yearbook. But I see there's a shift this year. Almost all the schools now are asking the ability, for the parents and the student to be able to make the yearbook purchase online. I think it became a trend, it became a norm. So, but many years ago, United Yearbook, we already provided the service, but not many schools ask about it. We are not really pushing it. But this year we see a big shift. So what we do, we're able to provide a absolutely free online purchase link, for the school. And something is very interesting, every day we learn from the advisors, because what they request from us, because the advisors know, what will help sell and market the yearbook, right? We also, found that more advisors are asking for the QR code. So what it does is, most parents, they will be able to scan the code, using their phone, and oftentimes now our phone will automatically link to a credit card that is already linked, for iPhone, maybe a wallet or a Venmo or Zelle, or PayPal. So most of our phone now is like a wallet, it's a credit card. So by having that QR code, it makes it easier for the student and the parents to make that purchase. So when advisors, when yearbook staff, when the school realize that the easier they make for the purchaser to pay for the yearbook, it actually will increase the sales, because now it saves a trip for the student having to go to the cashier or the ASB office, hand them, the cash to have their name put on the yearbook purchase list. So I think it's very time efficient. I think the most part is it actually help increase the yearbook sales, because now parents, purchaser, student can make the purchase 24/7. And we do see that a lot of purchase come after school hours, after office hours. That's when students and the parents finally have time to sit down. Oh, let's see what bills I have to pay. Okay, there's a link for yearbook purchase. Let's do it right now. So I think it's a very smart choice for school to think about, the getting an online purchase link for the yearbook sales. And one good thing about United Yearbook is the yearbook link is just about the school, and they can use that to sell previous year's yearbook. We don't put tons of merchandise of United. You try to promote, other merchandise, but it is just unique the product that pertain to that particular school.
Yeah, I think another huge pro and positive is it's really helpful for marketing as well. You can easily put the QR code or the link inside the newsletter that advisors send out to parents, or post it on the yearbook social media site. Easily put the QR code, put the link on there as well. Post it constantly on a TikTok page or whatever it is. And as I mentioned, that everything's becoming so present online, but what's it called? Parents aren't only stuck to doing it like at the beginning of the year or going in person, as you said, but they're kind of reminded maybe on a weekly basis. If an advisor sends out a newsletter on a weekly basis or every 2 weeks or whatever it might be, always including that purchase link, always including that QR code is a really good way of marketing the yearbook and making it, at the touch of a fingertip. We just bought our yearbook, for the year. And so it makes it very simple and seamless. And it, like you said, it really does entice people to want to purchase it more, just because it makes it so much easier. Online shopping is just such a convenient thing nowadays. And, a lot of people do their Christmas shopping online nowadays. And so why not purchase your yearbook online, So
Exactly.
Yes.
And Black Friday is coming. It's a good opportunity for the school maybe to promote a certain Black Friday deal, to boost yearbook sales. And one thing I just remember that we have like school that will actually print out flyers with the QR code and also the web link, and place those printed flyers all over the school campus, like the restroom, like the doors, the advisors, doors, some of the classroom, and throughout campus. That way, the student who see the flyer, they can scan the code and automatically lead them, to the purchase link. So the more, and also one school I remember, it's still, stuck to my mind, is they said they place it on all the tables, like a card, and place it on all the table in the cafeteria.
Yeah, that's so smart. They can't miss it at that point. It's so accessible.
Mhm.
Yeah, and every student knows how to do the QR code nowadays. There's not like any, it's not inconvenient for them. They just know how to whip out their phone and take a picture, and they're on the site already. So yeah, it's a wonderful way to market the yearbook and get more yearbook sales.
The more they see it, the more that image of the yearbook cover get onto the face. It's hard for them to not see it, right? The more they see it, the more they know that they found out their friends also purchased a yearbook. It create that FOMO effect, right?
Yes, exactly.
People want to miss out.
Exactly. Don't miss out. Make sure to put something like that. Don't miss out. Make it super fun. Make it enticing. Yeah. Okay, so I think that wraps it up for this episode. What does United Yearbook offer? I thank you all so much for listening. You can go ahead and leave any comments or questions down below. If there's something that you want to hear more about, anything that we've talked about, or maybe something that we haven't talked about before that you'd like to hear more about, go ahead and leave that down below as well. I'll go ahead and leave any links for you guys to follow as well. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you all.